Hey everyone, welcome back to the homestead. So what I'm going to start on today is disking the area that we plowed in the last video. So I've got a few hours here, the weather's beautiful. I've got the discs all hooked up to the tractor. I'll show you that in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on this. Hopefully I can get it covered at least once today. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with that. I'll bring you along. Set of discs that we have. They're a little older, but they work just fine for us. Concrete block for weight. Sometimes I do put two on there. Hooks up to the sway bar on the tractor, and it's just a tow behind. 5 discs on each side, 10 total discs. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so I've went over the entire thing one time. As you can see, it breaks down the clumps, the discs, and then the next step, once you through disking it, would be to rake it, the pull behind rake. But that's one time over. It's going to have to be gone over maybe 3-4 times until I'm satisfied, or until it's where it needs to be. But it's starting to pick up here, especially get some afternoon rain here. So I'm going to go ahead and try and get this done a second time real quick. And when we're finished, I'll throw up a before and after, before we disc it to after we disc it, so you can see the difference a little better. All right, so I got that new garden disced. I actually went over it a couple, maybe 3 times. A few days back. The weather around here, we've had some showers and some rain, and it was real nice one day, and then it gets chilly the next. Today the wind's humming out there, so I'm not going to get up on the tractor and disc that today. I'm going to let it dry out with the wind a little bit more before I get back to that. So the last day or so, we've been doing some more indoor planting. I did transfer about 100 pepper plants yesterday. I didn't tape it because it's the same process as when I showed you when we did our tomato plants. You've all seen that already. But what I'm going to do today is I am going to go ahead and get some lettuce seeds planted. I'm going to utilize this planter box that I have. I'm going to fill it with dirt. I'm going to plant my seeds in it. And basically I'm going to put this up on my patio for the summer. And I'm hoping as the lettuce grows and we want a fresh salad, we'll be able to go outside, cut it off, and bring it right in. So I'm going to go ahead and get this filled with dirt, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. I'm going to fill this up to maybe an inch below the top or so. I'm not going to actually measure it. That don't look too bad. Just go ahead breaking any clumps up that I see, feel. I'm going to go ahead and get my watering can, and I'm going to moisten this all down prior to putting my seeds in it. Just moistening this down. Makes it a touch easier to work with. That sink in for a minute. Then we're going to go ahead and start with our seeds. Now, these call for being a 1/4 inch deep. 2 to 4 inches apart. Again, I'm not going to measure it out. And my plan is to put 2 rows here. I know that's a little tight, tighter than maybe normally, but I think that's what we're gonna do. All right, so I've moistened down the soil. What I plan on doing here is 2 rows. That calls for them to be about a 1/4 inch deep and 2 to 4 inches apart. Again, I'm just gonna estimate when I do this. I'm gonna create 2 rows here. And these don't have to be perfect. I'm just using this popsicle stick. You could use anything. You could use your fingers if you wanted. I'll bring in a little, well, let me do this other one. I know it's hard to tell, but there's 2 rows that go straight down. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put the seeds in there, and then I'm just gonna fluff over them, and we will be all set. I'll go ahead and open my seeds. I don't know if you can see or not, but these lettuce seeds are pretty small. So we're just gonna sprinkle them in the best we can. In our rows that we put in here. You can always thin this out later if need be. Too much germination is never a bad problem to have. I think this should be pretty good. I've got quite a bit of seed left over, and I do plan on doing a couple different pots with this, but once that's that, I'm gonna go ahead and cover this up, and rather than mess around with what's there, it's just a lot easier to just do it this way. Just take a new handful of soil. Yeah, you want to put about a 1/4 inch coverage on these. And that's it. Lettuce seeds are planted. Germination time is about 7 to 10 days. Naturally, I'll give you guys an update when they come up, but we're gonna go ahead and set this over there on the windowsill so it gets some sun. And we'll let you guys know how it turns out. Place the box right on the windowsill. And again, I'll give you an update as they start to germinate. All right, so the asparagus garden, asparagus patch, I guess you would call it, we are starting to get some sprouts. First crop of the year, so to speak, I suppose. But it won't be long now, probably a couple weeks, and we'll be clipping our first ones. But they're starting to sprout up. I've got to go ahead and get this weeded. I'm kind of a fanatic about weeds, so I got to get these weeds out of here, and then I'm probably going to put some straw down in between the rows to try and keep the weeds down going forward. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that, and I'll show you what we got. So I've started weeding my bed here. Now you can see the area that I've weeded versus the area that needs to be done. So I'm going to work my way down. My bed's only about 20-25 feet long here, so it won't take too long. I use a small trowel and I try to dig the roots of the weeds out the best I can. It's never usually too terrible. But as you can see, I'll show you, we've got some asparagus coming up in a few different spots. One there, some there, so that's a good sign. I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of this weeded, and I'll give you guys a final showing when I got it all finished. All right, so the bed's all weeded. Perfect timing too, because it's starting to rain a little bit on me here. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it for now. I'm not gonna get the straw in there today, it don't look like. I'm gonna go ahead and let that dry out for a day or so. And then I'll get the straw in between the rows of asparagus. But yeah, it's starting to come up pretty good. As I worked my way down, there were quite a few coming up. And once it starts, this really starts coming up. So I'm pretty happy with that. I hope you liked the video. If you did, hit the like button. Please remember to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Share it with friends, family, neighbors, whoever you think would be into this sort of stuff. And we'll catch you on the next one.